folks. I always wanted to convert our Scion XB into something that was a little more travel friendly. There's no way you're going to convert this car or a smaller vehicle into a camper or an RV, but we definitely wanted to make it a little more travel friendly and something that we could maybe even sleep in if we get to a campground and it's dark or it's raining like crazy and we don't feel like setting up the tent. And this is what we came up with. Basically, the first thing that we did is we took the back seat out. It did fold down, but it really wasn't flat, and it was pretty high, even when it was folded. We also took out the spare tire from the floor behind the back seat, and there was also the jack and a bunch of other stuff and some foam that kind of kept everything in place, and then some mats over it. And basically what that did is, by getting rid of all that stuff, is we lowered the floor, which used to be probably about, maybe 4 inches above the opening here of the back, to now being maybe 4 or 5 inches below the opening. So we gained quite a bit of vertical space. What we did have when we took all that out was kind of an uneven metal floor from the frame of the car, or the body of the car. And I actually cut a piece of plywood to fit the shape, and I covered it with this indoor-outdoor carpeting, which matches the interior nicely, and so that worked out well. Also, we wanted to use the vertical space for storage because it does go way up, but it's hard to stack stuff that high. So what I did is I took some vertical shelving material, and I put it on basically a framework, and with shelving brackets that are mounted to some wire baskets. So these wire baskets are adjustable. I can put them in on the framework anywhere that I want, and as many as I want or as few as I want, so it's quite versatile, but this is usually the way we travel. I set it up behind the driver's seat so it doesn't impede the view over here towards the blind spot, and it doesn't impede the view off to that side. It's kind of directly behind the driver, so that worked out well. So these are handy. We also wanted to get as much floor space going forward as possible. And as you saw, I moved the front seats forward and leaned them forward. And I have a flap here that actually extends out another 8 or 10 inches or so of floor space. Now I'm 5'8", maybe 5'8½", and I can reach just basically to the door with my head right to the seat. So if you're at all larger, you're going to have to either sleep diagonal, or if you like to stick your feet out, you can actually sleep the other way here and put your feet between the seats. But my wife is shorter than I, and we both fit in here just fine, even though it's not it's not huge. It does work out well. The only other thing I did with the modification, I was thinking of putting in like electrical wiring and lights, but I figure that was just way too much fooling around for something like this. So I actually got this unit here. It's actually an emergency jumping system. It's got a battery that you can charge, and it's got a 120 volt inverter for a 120 volt electrical socket. It also has 2 sockets for 12 volt appliances, which works out nice. There's also an air compressor. If you get a flat tire and you need to pump a tire, you can do that. And it also has jumper cables where you could give your own car a jump, which might come in handy for an emergency. So I thought that worked out pretty well. I also have a little neon light underneath that I can plug in if I want to. And I have a camping light, one of these jobs that actually goes on a hook up on the ceiling, and that gives us plenty of light that we need. Other than that, that's about it that we did. There's a lot of little details that I could probably go over, but I won't at the moment. As far as actually using the vehicle, what we do is we keep our sleeping bags in the top baskets here. We might keep a tent in the bottom, some miscellaneous stuff in this other lower basket. And when we go to camp, and we also have some floor or some sleeping mats that we bungee up against the spare tire. But when we do sleep, we'll take the mats down, we'll put them on the floor, we'll take our sleeping bags out, and that'll free up these racks. And then with the open racks, we'll put our shoes and personal items, extra clothing and stuff up there that's available. and we travel pretty light, and we keep our personal stuff in small backpacks. And what we'll do is we'll hang those. One will be hung off of the rack here, and another one will hang on the other side off of this handle, so everything is off the floor. So we have the entire floor space open, which is nice, and is probably the key to this whole thing. If we do travel somewhere that's maybe a musical event and we might have musical instruments with us or other stuff, we'll keep those in the front seat. There's still some space up there, even though the seats are folded up, which works out good. And once again, everything's open. As far as other storage, underneath the flap, this is where the passenger's feet used to go when the back seat was in. And underneath here, I will keep stuff like jumper cables and the jack, and we have curtains that actually can go on the windows, and some netting too if we want to have keep bugs out but keep the windows open. So we have that all under here. And under the other side of the flap, we keep water. We have water jugs that are actually tucked up underneath here, and then we keep food under here. So that's out of the way. So it's worked out really well. It's really come in handy when we really don't feel like getting the tent out, or maybe we're in an area that there is no regular camping where we can't pitch a tent, but we still need to crash somewhere so we can sleep right in the vehicle. So we've been really happy with it, and maybe you could use it too, the concept for your vehicle. In fact, we're probably going to look at getting a new vehicle, so I wanted to do this video, but we're going to use the same concept on that one too. So, well, I hope you got some tips out of that. Thank you for watching, and happy travels.